We are getting ever closer to doom. Have buff Old Man Logan and Colossus been nerfed prior to release? And what's going on with Warlock? Yes, hello everybody, and bear left. To those that are listening to me in their car at the moment, it still freaks me out that people listen to me in their car rather than kind of cranking up the radio. We'll crank up Rich the Man and that news-based Marvel Contest of Champions program. But thanks, I appreciate it. Now shift that gear, which I don't think a lot of people do. I don't think a lot of people have manuals. Anyway, whatever. Fact is, welcome back to the Marvel Contest of Champions news. Lots of various stories to talk about in this particular edition. And let's just get into it, shall we? Now let's kick things off with a motion comic. It certainly was incredibly exciting to see this build, this story of the Fantastic Four, which as we all know has been going on for a very long time. And Reed Richards shows a lot of science-based stuff in this particular motion comic and the perils of things not exactly going to plan. And you know, we always get that feeling that somebody is watching me and I get no privacy. Well, that is indeed the fact, because the screen goes green to show that, oh, Dr. Doom is a bit of a perv and is actually watching him some kind of Big Brother style. It's a great motion comic, check it out in the link in the description. As you know, recently in Marvel Contest of Champions news, we talked about the way that Warlock was interacting with defensive-based abilities. And it's a big problem that we have in Marvel Contest of Champions, where the way that so many different things interwork with one another, offensive ability, accuracy, defensive ability, accuracy, all these different types of micro abilities that interact with different types of things, whether it's nodes or other champions, can have causes and effect. And one cause and effect at the moment is that Warlock is experiencing some sort of issues, which the developer has to really fix. Now, there's a lot of technical falling out over this matter, so I'm just going to stick it with these points here by Mari2. He says, fix, not nerf. It wasn't in his ability description that he could even reduce offensive ability accuracy. Abilities that trigger when the champion is attacking are offensive. Abilities that are triggering when the champion is attacked are defensive. That's basically the layman's terms for it. And that hopefully clarifies why Kabam are fixing the techno-organic virus aspect, because it was decreasing defensive ability accuracy when it shouldn't be. Next bit of news is that the prestige for Dr. Doom and Mr. Fantastic has been revealed. So Otrox has got the info saying here that the 5-star rank 5 level 65 signature 200 of Dr. Doom is coming in at a very meaty 10,850 for the prestige. That is so darn high. That makes it the highest out there. I think it's 200 points away from, or about 200 points away from Thor Ragnarok, which was way up there, way at the top. And also we got Mr. Fantastic at a respectable 10,630, which is like, I'm thinking, right, well, Command making a slight nod that they should have gone like, oh, Mr. Fantastic's, you know, he's more intelligent, but at the same time, it looks like Dr. Doom has more godly-like power, so he gets an extra bump of prestige. Either way, we're still waiting for this champion to review for the CCP. So yeah, very, very imminent. Oh, Doom is coming, people. Another news, and something that is really important, is this whole kind of Old Man Logan and Colossus situation. So something that went live on Friday was the spotlight for both champions. But the update won't come until the next 24 to 48 hours. However, though, one big thing is that they're pointing out the element of difference, and it being so substantial a difference that it could be warranted as a nerf for both characters. But let's have a look at this a little bit more. I just want to take a moment to backtrack. So this process has been very much, I think, 5 months, 6 months in the making to get to this point here. There's been one beta test, and from what I gather, there was a message saying there was going to be a second public test, which Sparks does pick up on. Now, where we left to now is just a straight, the champion's going to be put in the state of whatever the last delivery point is, and that's whatever the developer says it's going to be. DNA 3000 put in this point to basically say, in my opinion, and there is some complexity to the situation, but overall I believe they nerfed Old Man Logan's damage mitigation. It's now harder to stack passive bleeds relative to the beta, and his damage mitigation via heal buff and bleed resistance is effectively lower relative to beta. He then goes on to say, I don't throw that word around lightly, but even though the heal buff is theoretically a bit stronger numerically in real world terms, it's weaker. It's even weaker in real world terms than Old Man Logan is now. At this point, a wild Kabam Zibit appears and puts some more light on this situation, so let's have a look. So beginning with Colossus, the old mechanic was at the start of the fight, Colossus gains 1 infinite armor up buff for each X-Men champion on his team, including himself. The new mechanic is that at the start of the fight, Colossus gains a number of indefinite armor buffs equal to 2 plus the number of X-Men champions on his team, including himself. With part of the feedback we received about Colossus in the beta was that it was taking too long for players to be able to ramp up his damage. We made this change to allow him to begin the fight with more armor up buffs, which increase the overall critical damage and damage output. This will allow him to start at a higher point on the damage ramp than he would before. The secondary aspect to this is that the beta tuning for the signature ability, based on a 5-star, Colossus has 12 to 37% chance to convert an expiring armor up buff into a permanent one. The new tuning is that it's 18 to 45%, so that is a positive switch. But it does get a little bit squiffy. We're going to go further. He also received an increase to the chance that his signature ability will convert to an expiring armor up buff into a permanent one. This will allow players to ramp up more quickly if they have their signature ability. This will turn more of their temporary armor up buffs into indefinite ones, keeping the player ramping up the power throughout the fight in a more reliable way. Additionally, during the beta we had synergy bonuses for Omega Red and Emma Frost. Sitting on the beta variant of Colossus, this was the test the proposed changes to the existing synergy bonus that those two champions already have access to. While we would have liked to keep the old tuning, it just became completely overpowered because Colossus has too many armor up buffs during an average fight that he used, so we made the decision to lower the potency in the update. These synergy bonuses will live on Omega Red and Emma Frost, just like the old before, but with a new reduced tuning. And this is the reduced tuning here. Omega Red synergy Metal Mayhem, old value was 20% attack rating per armor up buff, and the new value being 2% attack rating per armor up buff. And Emma Frost, which is all about the power gain, the power rate is plus 15% of the old value, and the new value is now 2%. And lastly, the Feel Citarax Embrace synergy had a display error during the beta, and it showed it giving it 2% attack rating per armor up buff instead of 1%, which was designed to be and what it was actually operating at during the beta itself. My thoughts on Colossus's changes is that I am disappointed to see the synergy change. Yeah, I understand what Kabam are trying to do with interworking more of the damage the synergy represented, or the power gain the synergy represented in his actual abilities himself. I get that. I'm just disappointed that this is so much of a substantial change. But I need to receive the champion, or I need to kind of see the new build of the champion, or kind of play about with it to get an idea if this actually feels like a big change. And I'll do that in a video by the end of the week. Moving on now to Old Man Logan after the beta, in light of the fact that Old Man Logan's regeneration was made into a buff and is now also tied to the damage output and can be spent to gain fury buffs during his special attacks. We increased the amount of healing it gives him from 9% to 10% max health over 20 seconds. There was also a display error in the beta that was saying the regeneration occurred every 10 seconds instead of every 20 seconds. As he was designed and he was doing in the beta. Now, to some players that might seem fine, but DNA 3000 puts together a good point looking at the other aspects missed, which we're just going to go over now. First of all, DNA 3000 talks about the visual bug. Yeah, I can't even remember the visual bug either. Also talking about re-emphasizing that point about the healing aspect to this particular champion and how it affects it. And highlighting that point by Kabam saying can be spent to gain fury buffs. That implies that this is an option for the players, but if the player chooses to use any special attacks, this isn't optional. This is unavoidable. If you use specials, you lose the heal because the heal refreshes only every 20 seconds. You're bound to be losing the heal for an extended period of time. The only way to avoid this is to avoid using specials or to moderate their usage severely, and that eliminates most of the damage increase the revamp gives him. There's also a point about the passive bleed effects which Alex Avalon picks up on, and I'm left with this feeling that a champion which I was really looking forward to in Old Man Logan is probably not going to be up to the standards that is delivery. I will check out the character when it comes into my roster, when the update goes live in the next couple of days. But the fact is, yeah, I am really disappointed on this subject, especially not having a second beta, because then we'd be able to go, look, what have you done to these characters? They were really good in the first beta. And look, you've got other champions in game which do at the same level or the extensive amount of damage output that they'll do. Like, why can't the old ones come up to the new standards? And especially going into more difficult things and we're needing stronger champions. You know, you're going to have Dr. Doom, which may or may not be the best champion in game. You've got your Namors, you've got your Dominos, you've got Omega Reds, you've got a whole plethora of champions. Why couldn't these be in the standard of the beta? Because they'd be on par. I think that would be fine. But that's just my thoughts. And now on to our final story, which is arena results and predictions. Now, not a lot of information has come in about the 5-star. This one in particular went for 81 mil, but I know a cutoff was at 72 mil, and that was quite low down. And I think that's unfortunately where you've got to aim for the round 2, 70 mil. By the way, all predictions are down here at the moment. We've also got, for the 4-star version, I've seen 12.3 mil. So it does come close to that kind of 13 mil that I put down, but 12.5 may be the cutoff point to go, do you know what, that may be fine. As 12.3 got position 500, but it just depends on how much this was fought out going into round 2, but do look out for that. Like I said, 12.5 mil would be safe. Also for the 3-star version, 1.5 mil is always safe for that, but I have seen cutoffs of 1.35, so it's up to you how you want to fight for that particular cutoff. And finally, Proxima. Now, even though it says 2 mil, I have actually seen just a moment ago a 1.82 mil. So 1.9, 2 mil will be absolutely fine for that champion. But as I said, predictions are always down the bottom at the start of this article. There we have it. That has been Marvel Contest of Champions news for Monday the 4th of November 2019. There's so many things going on this week. I have forgot to get to some stories, which I'll probably put into Wednesdays and Fridays edition. So yeah, thanks very much for watching this video. Check out some other content here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.